all, I am currently sitting behind the wheel of a 2026 Genesis GV70. I am in Houston, Texas, in a parking lot, and I have a very brief window of time to talk to you about some of the technology that is on this vehicle. Some of it is new, some of it is not new, but this vehicle gets a huge tech overhaul for this model year, so I just wanted to walk you through some of the tech on this week's car du jour, the 2026 Genesis GV70. All right, you know what? Since we are in this position, one of the things that is on Genesis vehicles that, and this is not new, but it's on Genesis vehicles, is the, it's an automatic seat adjustment, and they say that it's supposed to be ergonomic for the driver to adjust their seat. So I'm currently adjusting the seat how I would adjust it if I were driving. All right, so now that I have this set up the way I would drive the vehicle, I am going to go into, I think they call it smart posture care or something like that, that tells you essentially how the car thinks you should be sitting. So I'm going to go into the 3D setup. This is the quickest way I know how to get into this. And then you go to see inside. It shows the inside of the vehicle. I'm going to hit seat, and then I'm going to go down to smart posture care. And it says enter the driver's information. So I put my height in. I am, we'll say I'm 4'10" to 4'11". I'm 4'11", so I'm on the shorter side of things. My inseam, you know what? My inseam is less than 24 inches. It's probably about 23 inches. And then my weight, okay, I'm not gonna be able to get my weight, but it's below 109 pounds. So then it's going to do posture analysis. And so it says analyzing posture, and on the screen, you can just barely see it right here. It essentially says very bad posture. Posture change is recommended. And so again, this is what I would deem to be a good driving posture. So we'll just hit adjust posture. Okay, did you see what just happened here? So the first thing it did is it lifted my steering wheel. I'm not going to be driving like this. And the next thing it did is, like, it's now blocking my view. Like, I can't see over the steering wheel. It lowered my seat. It, like, made it go back. This is not a driving position I would want. Yeah, this is not it. So I'm gonna move it back to where I want it. So this is not a new feature in Genesis vehicles. It is something that has been in several Genesis vehicles throughout the throughout the lineup. And by the way, it has never worked for me. This is old tech. It is old tech that I don't like. So you know what? Now let's get into some of the new tech and the stuff that I do like. If you are familiar with the Genesis GV70, you know, this is a complete refresh. And again, so this was the posture analysis where it says my posture analysis is very bad. Yeah, if you're short, do not trust this. Okay, but what is new on this for this model year is going to be this 27-inch OLED screen. So, you know, if depending on how you have it set up, it flows very nicely from the gauge cluster into the map area, and I think that looks really cool. You know, you can change it a little bit in terms of how it looks. So if you press this right here, you can kind of separate the two a little bit. You still have a map behind your gauge cluster, and then you have a separate map here, but it doesn't flow into each other the way that it did. You can put your driver assist settings right here. You can show your trip information. And then again, this is my favorite, where the map just kind of flows from the map side into your gauge cluster. In terms of overall setup of this screen, I'll be honest with you, there's not a lot of adjustment. Like, what you just saw is essentially what you get, but you can change your theme depending on drive modes. So it changes the colors a little bit going on back here, but essentially, as I said, what you see is what you get. There's not a lot of crazy configuration other than what I have just showed you right now. This does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Because I'm filming with my phone right now, I can't show you that, but you know what? I'm going to insert a TikTok video that I did using somebody else's phone right now so you can see what Apple CarPlay looks like. I'm currently sitting behind the wheel of the Genesis GV70, which is significantly refreshed for the 2025 model year. And yeah, this 27-inch OLED screen is one of the biggest things that is changing on this vehicle. And somebody had asked me to take a look at Apple CarPlay and how it appears on the screen. So you can see there is a little bit of a dividing line here between your gauge cluster and then your Apple CarPlay, but it fills out the screen really well. You have some nice big icons on here, and this is very swipeable and very easy to use and maneuver. It is a touchscreen. However, you do also have the ability to use this dial here, and you can scroll through things. So if you don't like fingerprints on your screen, there is that capability. Now, while I have Apple CarPlay on the screen, and this is not my Apple CarPlay, I've conscripted somebody else's phone so that I could show this to you. I do want to go through something really quick and show you in your settings, you do have the ability to customize your appearance and your wallpaper a little bit. So you can go into wallpaper and you have some different selections here. And typically what I try to do when I'm driving a vehicle, a test vehicle, is I look at what the interior looks like and I try to match it a little bit to the interior so that it kind of blends with the theme. No, that doesn't blend with the theme. Let's go back and look at something else. Maybe this? Yeah, I like the orange with the orange. So you can set your theme, and then when you go back into your CarPlay menu, that is now set up. So some other things that you can do in here with the settings. So we're going to go back into settings. You have your appearance. So automatic, you can set it to, always dark. I know there are a lot of people out there who like the dark screen. They don't like the whiteness. So you can actually set it to always dark. Did you know that you could customize your Apple CarPlay? I think it's kind of cool. So you can also put your phone in silent mode, and you can set up your Siri and all of that. So I like the customizability, and I do in fact like how it actually appears on the screen. Now I will say this is a little bit weird now that I've changed this to such a vibrant color, and then you have your gauge cluster here, but you can make other choices. You could, okay, so let's see. We'll go into the wallpaper, and if you want it to be a little bit more matchy-matchy, let's set it to gray. Okay, maybe that looks a little bit better. So at any rate, this is how Apple CarPlay looks on the 27-inch OLED screen. All right, what else do we have going on in terms of technology? Let's just take a look at this center stack area, because in addition to that 27-inch screen, this area right here has been completely redesigned. You can see there's a much more horizontal design theme. You don't have the two separate screens kind of making this a vertical area. You have your climate controls primarily down here, but you do also have the ability to control your climate through here as well. So you have the redundancy of controls in terms of what you want to do with it. Your heated steering wheel, heated seats, ventilated seats, all of that is going to be located down here. But you can change your modes and things up here. You can change your temperature here, but you can also change your temperature here. So I really like the multiplicity of controls and how you get things to operate. I'm a big fan of interacting with the system the way that you want to interact with it. And I mean, these are obviously going to be your quick touch controls, but if you wanted to get more in depth and do more things, you could dig into it with the climate screen. Let's just check out this home screen a little bit more and see what else we have going on. So we already looked at how the map appears on the screen. You've got this is going to be your destination. This is going to be your phone projection. So one of the really cool things we discovered is we have a wired in connection here. And if you wire in your phone, it automatically connects your phone to CarPlay. Okay, yeah, but it allows you to set your phone up for wireless CarPlay that way as well. So you can plug in, charge your phone, do whatever, but then the next time you get in the car, if you don't need to charge your phone, you can just automatically connect wirelessly. So that's kind of cool. So you have your setup here, but I really like this 3D setup. That's kind of what I was playing with when I got into the posture control. And it allows you to more easily find the things that you're trying to change, correct, or deal with in terms of what's going on. So this does have ambient lighting. It's obviously a little bit bright outside to get a good look at that. But as you can see, it goes around the vehicle. This has been changed for the 2026 model year. You do have, it's a little bit more of a vibrant light. So, you know, it'll show up around this, it'll show up around here, and then it shows up around the edge. And you can link it to your drive mode, or you can customize your color, like change your color a little bit more. So you've got the blue, the green, you know, the garnet red to me is more of a pink. But if you wanted to set your custom color, you could do like actual pink. So I like the fact that you have the ability to really customize your color and set it where you want it. I think it's silly when you have a luxury vehicle and they give you 7 options. Come on. Come on. Give me more options. Maybe I don't like the colors you've selected for me. You can also change the brightness. So if it's too bright or not bright enough for you, you can set that up. You can dim it in the dark, all of those things. So, and if you don't like it, if you don't want it on, you can actually turn it off. You don't have to have it on. I'm turning it as bright as I can. You can kind of see it reflecting under there. Okay, what else do we have going on? So back to our 3D system. Like I said, this is literally the easiest way for you to kind of figure out what's going on with your vehicle in terms of what you are going to adjust. So your door, your lift gate, you do have the smart lift gate. And it is on right now, but this is where you turn it off. So you walk up to the vehicle and it will open the you can actually, let's go standard. I always say that it just opens too fast when I'm coming up to the back, so we'll take it off fast. But if you don't like the smart lift gate when you walk up with the key fob in the back and it automatically opens, you can turn that off here. We'll leave it on. What else? Let's see inside. So this is where, you know, you adjusted the seat for the ergo motion seat, the smart posture care, your warmer and ventilated options. I mean, I love how customizable this is. An owner is really going to want to get into this and just hit all of the buttons and play around with this to get what they want to really be going on here. So this is, again, we have the cluster linked to drive modes, but essentially theme A, theme B, theme C, they're just the drive modes. So, I mean, if there was a drive mode that you really liked the theme of, you could come in here and select that. Welcome sound on, off, content selection. I will point out, with all the technology that this vehicle still has, your headlights are still on a stalk. Your windshield wipers are still on a stalk. Your mirror adjustments are still physical controls. I know a lot of automakers are starting to put controls in here. Genesis has not done that. Please don't do that. Thank you, Genesis, for not doing that. Okay. Vehicle settings. So there's a lot going on here. Head-up display. So you do have a head-up display. It is located, you can see it right there. And you have the ability to enable it, disable it. If you don't like it, you don't have to have it on. You can change the height. So if you can see that, like it'll move up or down. You can rotate it. You can change the brightness of it. So adjustable there as well. So, okay, there's a lot going on here in terms of what you can change, adjust, or do. Obviously, you've got your Sirius, your radio, your HD data, climate controls, seat controls. So I will say this does have what they call smart posture assist, and essentially that is a seat massage. The passenger seat doesn't have it, the driver's seat does, and you can set the intensity, you can set the session length, and there is a button right here that you press that will engage the seat massage. So you know what, I'm just gonna I'm just going to put that on while I'm sitting here doing this, because it's not too aggressive to me and it feels pretty good. And I'm a huge fan of all of the massaging things. And yeah, I've got my heated seat on as well, so it's kind of like giving me a little hot stone massage. Um, all right. I feel like we've had a good look at the OLED screen. We've looked at the dual automatic climate controls. Let's talk just a little bit about this situation going on. I have to say, I am not too much of a fan of this double dial, because this right here is going to be your gear shift, and you can turn it to put it into gear, push this button to go into park. And I mean, I guess it makes a little sense if you're going to have your arm resting here and then you can just rest your hand on the dial. This right here is going to be for this. So again, I like the multiplicity of control engagement. And if you don't want to use the touchscreen, you can use the dial. But I feel like putting these two together right here, just, I don't know. To me, it's a little bit of I would be afraid of trying to put it into drive. And then I've turned this. I will say, I feel like I have been driving the vehicle and I meant to do this and I touched this. It doesn't put your vehicle in reverse if you're going 70 miles on the highway. Just rest assured, there's a lock in place. It's not going to do that. But you shouldn't even get to the place where you're mistaking one for the other. And so this to me is a bit of a user mistake. It's bad user experience. I do want to point out again the multiplicity of ways that you interact. If you don't want to scroll through the screen to get to, one of the features here, didn't mean to hit the voice memo, like the map, you can actually come down here and hit the map. You can hit the nav to get your, search for direction, for your radio, for your media. So I like the fact, again, that you have multiple ways to interact with the system. Now, there's one more feature that I want to talk about here before we hop into the back seat and check out what is going on there. And that is the fact that because this is the top tier trim, you do have the blind view monitor. And I really love that feature, especially in a city when you are making a right turn. You have a really good gauge of what is going on in your blind spot. Make sure you don't hit a biker in the bike lane before you make your turn. So love the blind view monitor. Okay, sitting here in the back seat, one of the first things I'm going to point out to you is my drive partner was on the taller side of the spectrum, so this was his passenger position, kind of in the far back tilted position. But if I were sitting back here and I need a little more space, there's actually a button here that I could press to just nudge him forward if he wasn't willing to negotiate. This could create some problems if you have kids who are trying to be annoying, but as a passenger who just needs a little more space, I can just be like, yeah, I just need you to move forward just that much, just a little bit. You do have a pull down here, and one of the things that they've added for this model year, which is not techie at all, and I'll show it to you when I flip the camera around, but they added prongy things. They added prongy things back here so that it can grip your beverage in the rear cup holder. Stupid little thing, but I really like it. Also very low techie, rear sunshade. I like that as well. And I don't know if you can see it a little bit back here, but the ambient lighting is showing up. Now, there's one final tech feature that I want to show you back here that gets a huge thumbs up from me. All right, this right here, you have tri-zone climate controls. So rear seat passengers can actually adjust their own temperature, and they have heated seat options. So there's no cooled seat back here, but you do have the option to, make it colder back here. If you're too hot, you can adjust the fan speed back here. Things that I wish I had when I was a kid in the back seat. You do also have your USB-C charge ports back here, as well as an actual plug. Now, back to the prongy things. Yep, prongy things. Thank you. All right, so that is just a quick look at some of the technology on the 2026 Genesis GV70. Some of it is new, Some of it is not new. Obviously, the biggest change is going to be that 27-inch OLED screen with all of the capability. But in general, I find the GV70 to be really comfortable, really attractive, and just really nice to drive. Now, I'm not giving driving impressions in this video. I have another one for that, and I will link to that up here. But I just want to say the Genesis GV70 is one of those vehicles that I recommend as a go-to vehicle for somebody who is looking for a small SUV. Starting price of this vehicle is going to be $47,000. That's with a 2.5-liter turbocharged engine that delivers 300 horsepower. This right here is the top-of-the-line model, competing with the BMWs, Audis, and Mercedes vehicles at $70,000. But the great thing about this vehicle is all this technology, all of this stuff that I showed you, it's a WYSIWYG. Nothing is an option. It comes included. So $70,000, it's all in there. All right, that is what I have for you in this week's Car du Jour, the 2026 Genesis GV70. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me. And I will see you next time with a new Car du Jour.